Um, Basically, what Juego Todo is, Juego Todo means power play or power game. And Juego Tirada is like it's anything basically that comes from your right shoulder and goes down to your left hip. So that's that. And the reason here I am, of course, I disarm myself. Perfect. Anyway, so when I'm striking like this 1-2 here, that's Juego Todo, and this is Juego Tirada. Now, it's a very basic system as far as that's concerned, but the most important thing about it is that it basically tries to create your worrying. If I'm striking like this, hit, 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 you have to say to yourself, okay, well, how can I attack them? I can attack them with my backhand. But here, then you bring it over your head, and then you've got the same thing counter. So we have a lot of principles that we're using to understand how the power game works and how you can switch from one side to the other and how you can use that to your advantage. Now, GT never showed this to anybody. I've been studying since 1981. I was affiliated with Tuhon Philip's New York group. I originally started with Tuhon in June of 1981, and he quickly moved from New York down to Big Spring, Texas, and so my connection was with Phil mostly. And then once Tuhon Philip I believe that Bill McGrath came in charge, and then there was some politics involved, and he left the system at about 19. Anyway, so if anybody has any questions about Juego Tirada, I have no problem. Please ask away.
No, sir. What I wanted you to explain to people is like what we see in Trivi today mostly is originating from Juego Todo and Juego Tirada.
Well, yes,
because
exactly.
Because I had I think I can't thank you enough when last year when I was going to Philippines to GT, and I asked you one thing which I can learn from GT, and you told me specifically ask him to teach you Juego Todo, and then after that you taught me also. So I got fortunate to train from both of you, and I see there is so much relevance of this in Trivi is amazing.
Well, I think what happened was when Tuhon moved back to the Philippines from New York, or from America in 1989, he had given Tuhon Bill, he had made Bill McGrath the Tuhon, the first Tuhon in Paquita, North America, and he had basically said, okay, I'm going to give you the whole system. Now, what he didn't do is the only person in North America he gave the Juego Todo to was Erwin Vallarta. Erwin Vallarta and the Ogahe for a short time stayed together in Big Spring, Texas, because Erwin Vallarta had become a lieutenant in the Big Spring Police Department before he became a member of the Department of Public Safety, which is better known as the Texas Rangers. But he was the guy that was the person doing things. So GT basically taught him this Juego Todo, Juego Tirada stuff. I picked it up from one of Erwin Vallarta's students, a guy by the name of Tuhon Leslie Buck. Buck is well known as Tuhon Filipino martial arts in India. And what happened was that he started realizing that when he started showing it to me, I'd actually, what happened is I've been listening for a long time. And when I've been looking for this for a long time, because I was looking to pick up the information, and I heard one of Jeanette Livares, who is now working in New York, but she, what happened, she was talking to somebody at a seminar I was giving in Burlington, Vermont, and she was talking about stuff, and I was like, and then she started saying the words Juego Todo, and I was like, well, because I had books, I mean, my book of information, I have things like this, you know, and I have pages and pages of information, but nothing on Juego Todo, Juego Tirada. I had, the material I had was basically 3 lines. I think it said, the Juego Todo information was kind of like very, very limited. It was, Juego Todo, 12 attacks, mean slap force. You know, it's part of the staff game, and it was like that was it, nothing more. by speaking to Jeanette Ladors that day, I was able to contact Leslie Buck, and he and I started training together. And I was able to go down, spend a few weekends, from Friday night till Sunday night training with him. And I got quite a bit of information from him on this the system, and he gave me the basics. And it's like anything in any system in Pikiti, you can develop this methodology, and you can understand how to derive from together those methods, how to start applying this information to your larger form of fighting. But one of the things I realized is that, for example, one of the first things I saw in Juego Todo was ground load, shoulder load, side load, down. And you start realizing now what GT was reprocessing is driving his whole system through was this method. And I don't feel that, his method is incomplete or anything like that. I feel that if you know the roots of where you came from, for example, if you know where your language comes from, if you know where the words were originally spoken, you can understand the etymology of how things work. And so you can understand how this would be, we use a stick, but originally it was perhaps a sword or some kind of thing like this. And so you start being able to go, okay. So then you start looking for the organizational aspects of it. But that's how I'm proceeding now. And hopefully today you get some of this information, and it'll positively affect your system.
Great. Thank you so much, Tuhon. I think we are good to go. You can start teaching. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay, sir. So, and guys, I'm also going to put my mic into mute. So everybody, let's put into the mute and just listen to Tuhon Philip.
Okay. So basically what I'm going to do is read a bit of stuff before we start getting technical. It's not very much. It's not like I'm going to be bored. 2.5 hours of reading, and then I'm going to show you a technique. So no, it's anyway. So Panastas translates as slash and refers to a large or wide through and through slash. The name Panastas is the name of a method of attacking an opponent using large slashing attacks for bridging purposes. The names Panastas and Juego Todo refer to the same method. So Panastas includes 2 offensive reversal attacks wherein slashes are delivered wherein slashes are delivered along one line and reversed to follow that same line back to its origin. So in Panastas, it's a slash followed by a thrust. So if I'm going bam, thrust, as opposed to Suketi, which is thrust, slash. So normally the methodology that we know of from Pikiti in the earlier forms, I think it's the 4th method, is Panastas Suketi. So that part of it we do. So we do that before the clock system in Dosi Methodos. So Panastas includes 2 of them. So as I said, so basically the bridging. So now the bridging, you'd see, an awful lot of times we learn things. We learn, like, for example, seguidas and contradas and all these things. And the problem with everything is context. For example, it's like learning context of grammar. If you don't know the vocabulary, there's no point in knowing where the grammar. If I'm say, I have went to the school. Well, no, it's I have gone to the school. But that's great. But if you don't speak English, it doesn't mean anything to you. Knowing the context of where it should be I have gone as opposed to I have went is incidental. It's all imperative to have the context. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an understanding of the context. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about terminology. So the terminology is Juego Todo. Juego Todo includes repeating the angle 1, 2, and 3. So these are 2 and 3. And to attacks basically translates as the attack game or the attack play, which is feinting. And at Juego Todo, it includes angles 1 and 3 and includes full power attack play. The system is based upon two primary strategies. One is based in using reversing lines of attack to catch the opponent off guard. The other is using a harassing strategy to force the opponent to respond defensively. Panastas is used with both concepts of contradas as well as contact. Contradas being follow, and what's it called? Contact is basically meeting. And so understanding the Panastas method requires a familiarity with ranging footwork, chambering positions, especially down load, medium load, shoulder load, and crown load, and the following terminology. So the terminology we have, so juego, which means play, a game on reverse lines. Tirada means attack. Todos means complete. Panastas / also refers to a method and series of attacks allowing bridging from long to close range. Juego todo method and a series of attacks allowing the bridging from long to close range, also known as Panastas. And Puhog or Puhog, which means to harass. Okay, so now we're going to go in, we're going to start slowly. We're going to show you the methodology, and then we're going to go from there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is here, so on the floor. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to reposition this a bit. Is this one? Okay, so I'm going to put this a little bit over here. Like that. Yes. Okay. So here we are. We're not going to do any setups for the movements because one would presume this is number 9 of the number 12. So this would come after Pikiti Pikiti and Pikiti Disarma. So you should already be pretty advanced to learn this, but we're not going to say that as anything else. So here we are. So I guess we can go up to here. This will be, okay, 1. So now, Juego todo. Juego todo, right foot forward. So stick it here. So we're going to first of all do the crown load. So the crown load is here and your hand is here. Now sometimes the hand is here depending on the system that they practice, but here. And then shoulder load, your hand is here. Then medium load, your hand is here again. And down load, your hand is like this. Now the whole purpose of this is so that you don't have it here. It's not like somebody's saying to you, please hit my hand. It's here. So if I'm like this and the person starts charging, I can then go in. If I've left myself open, I have a chance to stop this. So crown load, shoulder load, medium load, down load. So I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to read you, basically go through all our stuff. So the Juego Tirada, basic strikes from through striking position. So the first thing we do from here, in this position, this is the top load, the crown load. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 1 and 4, 1 and 4. So this is Juego todo. Hit, hit. So it's a power line, right side high to left side low. Power line. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Here, here. So you want to get your body relaxed, hitting. So you hit. So now here's my Juego todo. Hit, 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 hit. Now, can I move? Of course I can move. So I step forward, hit, 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 and go back. And forward. Back. So one of the things I don't do is I don't step back with my left foot. If I'm retreating, I step back with my forward leg. Hit. Because if I go back here, this leg is now it's a target. So forward, 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 and back, 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 forward, 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 and back, back, back. Okay. So that is Juego todo. Juego tirada is from your left shoulder. So you go 1, 2, here like this. So you go here. So as you go back, this is here. So forward, hit, forward, hit. And then with this, and then this, back, 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 forward, 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 back, 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 forward, 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 forward. So you have juego todo, juego tirado. So then what you want to do is say, okay, now how do I get to my other position? So if I'm here like this, I don't stop and then start on my left side. 1, 2. So then here I go this side. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So here I am always going back to the shoulder position, and that is how I return to this position from here. So I go todo. That's basically 1 and 3, and I do number 2 to bring myself back. So I can stay here all day if I want, but when I'm like this, hello, yes. Okay, so there are people there. Are you Alex? Is that Alex? Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Okay, so you have 1. It put you on you're on the center screen. That's why I'm asking. So you might be on everybody's screen right now.
I don't know why.
Okay, so
I want.
3 and 2. Now I'm back. Okay. So 1 here, 3 and 2. So then what I do is I just do another 2. So if I'm like this, if I'm doing 3 and 2, my overhead can come right down to here, and then I can start again. So basically what you do is when you want to go from side to side, if I'm doing juego todo, and I do 2, for me to regain my position as juego todo, I bring it to a shoulder load. So here, here, and shoulder load. But if I want to go juego tirado, I'm here. And if I want to go juego tirado, back again, here. Or I can bring it to the todo. So my juego todo, juego tirado, whatever I'm going to do, I go down, I bring it down here. So either I do an overhead 2, 1, 2, bring it back to here. That'll bring my tirada again. Or I go here, bam, and then juego todo. So the idea is just that you're not sitting there going, what do I do? What do I do? You have very simple movement, and then very simple movement, and then here, and here. So you can go here, like this. So if, for example, this seems untenable, it just gives you another overhead. Yeah. 1, 2, and 2. Or if I want to do a juego todo, there I am. And 2. Juego todo. Tirada. Todo. Tirada. Todo. Okay, so that's the most basic thing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some combinations with some very basic footwork. Now, if you're right-handed, the footwork goes like this. We do the forward and reverse triangle. So if I'm doing the forward triangle from here, I'm going to step back so you can see my feet. I would use my right foot forward. One, because to go with my left foot forward puts me at a disadvantage. So if I'm using standard footwork, I only do it one side. I don't go forward, cross, then backwards here, because this is a coordination exercise that's good for exercising. But if I was to fight with you, bam, I landed with my left foot forward. Unless I've got some really amazing techniques, I'm going to get hit in the leg and I'm going to go down. So when you're doing specific techniques for specific movements or specific forms, there's a reason why the footwork is only going that way. So in this case, we're going to do the, what should we do first? Okay, we're going to do alternating 1, 2, an overhead 2, or 1, 4, an overhead 2 in the forward triangle. So here, so 1, 2, hit, bang. From here, so 1, 2, overhead 2, cross. 1, 2, overhead 2. So if I'm doing it, hit. I don't have to prove myself as anybody. My idea is once you're dead, you're dead. You're not going to come back and go, that wasn't the right technique. You're going to be you're either successful or you're not successful. And that's experience. So here, so 1, 4, 2, reset, 4, like this. So 1, 4, 2, or 1, 2, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 4, 2, yeah, here. 4, 1, 2, 2. 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, 2. 1, 4, 2, 1, 2. Okay. The next one is reverse triangle. Same thing. So now, the same way. So if you're attacking, you lead with your right leg and strike with your right hand. Is anybody there? You don't? Okay. Come on in. Can't do much when standing out there. Okay, so now the next one is reverse triangle. So because I'm right-handed, right-footed, I will retreat here. I don't go back with my right foot. I go forward with my right foot. I go back with my left foot. So I go, say 1, 2, 2. Or 1, 4, 2. 1, 2, 2. Same idea. So I go hit, and here. 1, 4, 2. 1, 4, 2. You have to decide what you have to work on the timing so that you can see what it works like for you. So I go 1, hit, or 1, 2, hit here. So you have to make sure that you go back to where you want to go. You don't want to go 1, 2 here and find yourself in a number 2 position when you don't want to be there. So Oigo total is power line. So hit, 1, 2, hit. 1, 2, hit. 1, 2, hit. 1, 2, hit. So we're went back here. The thing is, realistically, I can go off to the left side. I can step back with my right foot, or I can. Now, one of the things we put together is from here, I would go forward, back, forward, back. So this is a forward triangle, and a back 1, 2, or 1, 2. So generally, you would do one strike, strike, and strike as you step up to the other line. Or you can also go 1, 2, 3. Say that there's a way of doing it better than the other way, that's something that you're going to find yourself. Your movement, your understanding of what you do is far more important than your perception of that. So if I'm going 1, 2, 2, or 1, 2, 2, step, I just want to be able to confidently go using my forward triangle, bam, bam, or my reverse triangle. Now, as a right-handed person, I want my right foot forward. So I'm going to step my right foot forward to the right and back with my left here. Then when I step back, I want to step back to the left because that's what my left foot is. So 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. If you're trying to stick something together, so 1, 2, hit, hit, 1, 2, hit, hit. Or you may try to go forehand, and then here, backhand. So you're like this, for example, if I'm moving forward, I want to go 1, and then 2, strike, follow up, and then down, up, here. So the circumstances that you find yourself in. Of course, this is not class, this is as much of a class that we can create, but you can't force yourself to do things your body needs to understand slowly. Okay, so common striking positions. We've done that one. Striking with footwork. Okay, now we're going to do the second striking with footwork. This is just an example. So here, so the side load, the medium load, basically it's centrito. Now this is a word that is from the old style. We call this, I speak English. I don't speak much Tagalog, so I can swear, but that's about it. But the centrito is here, so flywheel. Then up, then 2, and the reset is here. So I would step forward, 1, 2, 3, and then I would reset. 1, 2, 3, reset. 1, 2, 3, reset. 1, 2, hit, reset. But then I can also do a reverse triangle. 1, 2, hit, reset. 1, 2. I can't. I'm trying to do stuff and I realize that I drift. That's shock, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 here. Now, if you're a lefty, you of course would be doing it the opposite way. I have a lot of things you can do. I'm a right-handed person, so I'm going to do things primarily with my right foot. Here. So when you do like a Charlie Brown, the zigzag stuff, so when you're making this kind of stuff, you can do that. You can go here. 1, 2, hit. So if I was like this, I go 1, 2, 1, 2. I could go forward and back this way. For me, it's not a matter of you have to do it this way. It's more a matter of you have to start feeling the right way of doing it for yourself. Because I'm not going to be there fighting for you. They're not going to be fighting for you. We're fighting for ourselves. So if I'm here, 1, I can't go, well, it worked, sort of. I have to make sure if I'm aiming for the hand, I aim for the hand. And if I miss, that's fine. So I want to go here, bang. I maybe want to deflect up here. So you can use the same idea. So 1, 2, here. So for example, if he was coming forward towards me, I would go back. And if he steps back, I'd go forward. He crosses me, bang. This is how you would practice this stuff. Okay, so now Juego Todo, so you could, in practicing Juego Torado, this is basically here like this. So I would go 1, hit. So I would go forward. Now, if I'm going forward, I want to make sure that my right foot goes forward as my backhand goes down. As my 2, hit, 4, here, bang, hit. Faster. 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back. Now, from here, this is Juego Torado. But all you have to do is to go to Juego Todo is, we did before, strike and to your right shoulder. So that's your movement. So here, so if I'm going to do this, if I want to do the drill Juego Todo, I will go like this, back, right side, and forward, and then left side, back, and forward, forward, or back here, and forward, back, forward, back, and forward, back, forward. Now, there are some things that you would want to learn. For example, as I said before, when you're doing the Juego Todo, up and down, or 1 and 2. So when you do the 1 and 2, here like this. So 1, 2, you can come in and here. So 1, 2, do an overhead 2. So that could be a backhand, or right up to your shoulders, your back Juego Todo. So 1, 2, and back. But it also gives you Juego Torado. So basically, by going here, you decide to a low forehand or a low high back forehand, and that is your beginning. So Juego Torado. So if I go like this, 1 here, 1. As soon as I change, this becomes either this or this becomes this. So as I come here, it gives me that position. So that's the feinting part. These are all these. Now, a lot of words have, oh, well, you're doing this. So if I'm here like this, I can just have to bring it like this, or I can come back here. I don't have to fulfill anybody else's preconception. Most important thing I have to do is learn how to do it in a way that works for me. Because if I don't do something that works for me, it's all pointless. If I'm doing a technique and I'm going bang bang, I'm getting beaten up, I have to change something, because if I don't change it, it will destroy me. So I have to say, okay, my aggression, my skill, whatever you want to call it, and the timing, so hit here. So I'm not going to be like, what's going on? I have to, put it this way. He who fights and runs away may live another day, but you're going to have to be that person who's going to be, you have to be able to explain all to all your friends what you did if you didn't do it. Okay, so the next thing. So Juego Todo and Juego Todo. So we've basically done that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you one variable that you can use in advancing and defeating. So now here, when I do Juego Torado, this is basically it. I can do things, but here. Whereas if I do the Juego Todo, if I'm moving forward, I can come up, step forward with my left foot, and then use that strike. So I'm going to show you with Min. So here, here. So now here, 1, bang, here. So I can step forward because we're going 1, hit. If I catch the timing, I catch the back of his wrist as they go up. The idea is to go here. So I can use my palm, or I can come in here and tap and use my hacks and reverse the grip, because that's the whole thing. The idea is use the knowledge of one system or one set of movements to open up the doors to another. So I want to do this one, right? So like this, move forward. So basically, I can go here, one, take this like this because it's here. A backhand is very difficult. So it's like this, one, two, hit, right? See, no, I was trying to come in, and this is, you just have such a line you can come in. Right? If you're doing a forehand, because you're here, because it's not farther away like the left hand, it is now here. So you can take a step back with your left foot, bang, and nail it. So there, when you're doing the footwork with the Juego Toro, you have so you're advancing and retreating footwork, but you can use a tap. So when you right foot forward, striking one. So when I just hit, so basically, yeah, so I go one, bang, hit. I step forward with my left foot. I've done one, two, three. So 1, 4, coming in, and then I just turn it to overhead here. This, or I can thrust. I don't have to do, my thing is like right now when I've hit his arm, bam, hit. So I can hack. There's left-hand hacks we can do. We can chop. I can capture it. There's also anything you want to do with your left hand, you can do. I can go here, take his arm. Why would I want to do that? I just want to kill him. This is open field battle. I'm going to take it that way. Okay, so that's the basic maneuver. So now we're going to start combining Juego Toro and Juego Tirada. And the whole purpose of doing that is to just give ourselves a sense of how and why of what we're doing. Okay, so Juego Tirada and overhead 2. So when we're like this, here, 1, Juego Tirada is here, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. And now here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Juego Tirada is a drawing technique. It's a painting technique. It's to create the sense of, okay, the power lines are there, bang, bang, bang. So now what you want to do is finish and download. So what you do out here is basically a standard move. So by doing this one, it is a Juego Tirada, yeah. So Juego Tirada, hit, hit, hit. So now what I do is I just go here, and that becomes my 2. So I can go here, or I can go here like this. So here, so Juego Tirada. 1, 2, go forward. Hit, we go back a bit. We go forward. So now here, I just sort of bang, so I can go here, and like this, and then 1 forward. That brings me a total. So I want to go here, Tirada. Hit. Forward. Forward. Here. What I want to do, my technique is they do Tirada, forward, middle. So what I want to do is I want to go here and do an overhead 2. And that'll bring me to this. That's my overhead 2. So now here, overhead 2. Tirada. Now, we refer to this as, well, this is basically Juego Tirada and overhead. So basically it's combining Juego Toro and Juego Tirada. So this is how we would do this. Now, Juego Toro and overhead 2. So from the shoulder load, we do 1 and 4, and then we do the same thing. So we're doing this, 1 and 4. So here, group, Juego Tirada. And here, back to our shoulder. I know this seems these are all separate. When you do them independently, you're supposed to do it. But when you're doing it on a webinar, it's very difficult to, because there's not a class. You don't get a feeling of people either know it or they don't know it, and that becomes a bit of a problem sometimes. But that's the 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. See now that's what you do with drive to total. Here, 1, 2, back to over total again. Again. So now here, again, so here, 1, and 2, back to over total. 4, 2, now Tirada. Same right there. So basically, I would, when I do my overhead 2, if I'm here like this, if I finish my Tirada and I go overhead 2, and I can go right down to the bottom, restart on the wiggle total or wiggle Tirada again, or I can go here and bring to my shoulder. And that's my total. So here, overhead 2, total again. Change the thing. Now we're going to go Tirada. So you start seeing from the right side, you will have either a forehand, bring it back to this, or a go all the way. Right, so turn. Right, you go back to here. Going back to Juego Todo Tirada should be very easy. That's what makes it so effective as a fighting art, because you're not doing something like, oh yeah, what do I do? You just do it. Okay. So basically what we need is, what we did is that we would have gone from here. Yeah. So this is Juego Tirada. Here. And here. So bang. Okay, so Todo. Okay. So you start seeing how the thing works. So I should actually be more in the middle. I apologize. Okay. So the combination is together. So now you want to start learning the application of the reversal strategy. The reversal strategy is very, very important. Why? Because when you do the reversal strategy, you want to be able to go like this, 1, 2, trying to find the locker room. So you want to be able to hammer the person. You don't want to just sit there and go here, because this is a fighting aspect. This is, by the time you get all the organized drills, you should be fighting. And when you should be fighting, you should be finding out what the timing is. If you see anybody who's any good at fighting, they work on timing, they work on distancing. It's not just the techniques. The technique, there are people who are not as good technicians, not as fast as other people, but they win the fights because they know how to hit the person in the right time. It's like, fight, with your hand. And then instead of one here, right, and you hit my hand, bang. Because by hitting a hand here, it gives you access to the person's other parts. When you go through, you cut through. Okay, so now we're going to do something called, we're going to work on the angles. So here, so reverse to direct hit. So this is going to be a Juego Todo versus angle 2. So when I go here, so here. So basically what we should be doing is we make contact with 1 versus 1. And so here, so I would go here. So I'm faster, and then against 2, he comes in with a 2. I go like this, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I could finish, do the stuff, but the idea is I will go 1, 4. So we're doing 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So I want to go 1, 4, 1, 4. So that's how I use my reversal strategy here. So I don't go 1, 2, 1, 2, and wait for him to fall asleep. I want to hit. And then once I've done the first one, I don't stop. I don't go, are you okay? Going 1, 2, 1, 2, and then here 1, 4, 1, 4. So here 1, 2, so come like this. So I go here, down, up, down, up. So I try to catch it just a bit on timing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. Good. So that is the first of the angle feeds. Now, reverse to deflection. This is actually when we start getting more into the how and the what and the where for. Okay. So reverse to deflection. The strike makes contact 1 versus 1. And then as the attacker delivers number 2, the 4 uppercut deflects incoming weapon and then strikes down with power blow number 1. So we're doing this. So it starts off as Fuego Total versus angle 2. So this is from here, strike me contact 1 versus 1, and then 2. So we'll go 1 here. So I'm looking for this here. So I go down, up. So, yeah, so I'm going hit, 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 hit. And I just go forward. I step forward, or I can forward, or I just say there. 1, 2, hit, hit, 2, hit, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. So that is the first deflection. So we're going to do 1, 2. You're going to go here and 2. That's it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Again. See, the thing is, like, if the instructor is the only person who can do it, it doesn't seem like a very good technique, right? It should work because everybody does. So, forward. 1, 2. So, I apologize. I've been fighting for like 30 years or anything like that. And because I've been fighting for so long, I do things incidentally. I don't do things on purpose. They kind of like, I kind of find myself at the edge pushing the person away because I'm trying to get closer. I apologize. Please excuse me. So, friends of mine or people who trained with me for a while have a tendency of backing up rather than saying to themselves what it was the deal. So 1, 2, 1. We're going to do it now. This one is my 2. Exactly. So here, 1, 2, 2. So basically, what you want to do is 1, 2. So as you go through, and you do this comes up. This is like you have a choice. You can do it like this, like a slash, but this is more of almost a thrust. This is part of the Panastadro. Hit, and down up. Because you don't really want to smash the person like this. You don't want to go here. If I do this, even if I do a break, I can break my stick or break my sword. Hit, 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 hit. 1, 2. This is very powerful. People say, when I first started, I had to question myself. Is this powerful enough to actually do this? And I started realizing that, yeah, it is. It takes time. Here, so now you're going to do it. And that's it. So, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hit, hit. So you can turn it into a slashing attack. Because once you've done this, you can turn it into a slashing attack. Oops. Slash. That's it. Is that a comment or a question or both? No? Okay, fine. Just curious. Okay, so that's Fuego Total versus angle 2. So juego total versus angle 1. So now here. So we can do the same juego total. So if we're doing this one, so when we're doing this one here, we had this one. So 1, okay, 1, 2. So bang, I'm able to do that and it's like sideways. So that's my first level. Now what I'm looking at now is I do 1 here. So now I'm going to go here. So hit here. So I'm going to read to you the okay. As the attacker delivers 1, use 4 uppercut to deflect incoming weapon. Then strike down with power blow to 1 and repeat by go total strikes right over at 3, 2, and 3. So is that the same thing?
No, that's not the same thing. We did this and this.
Yeah, no, but here, okay.
You're broken up in one of them.
Okay, yeah, that's why. I read my notes and sometimes I go, what did I write? Okay, as a task, okay, so here. So 1 and 2. Here. So what I have to do is, I have to go here. I have to go bang. So here, 1. So here, here. Right, so I bounce it off this hill. So I'm sorry, 1, 2, here. So this one, first one is here, here. Okay, this one is this, bang, bang, bang. This one is 1, 2. Okay, same idea. Okay, so basically, you can do this same technique against first or second one. So here, so we're going to follow. Example 2. Here, hit 1, 2, 3, or like 3, 4. Why not? You're here, just. All right, so yeah. So 1 and 2. Yeah. Sorry. Outside deflection can work against the 1 and the 2. Okay, so now the closing distance. As opponent delivers a strike, number 1, you step forward. So when you have the juego total, the closing distance, it's the same thing we did before. There are some techniques where they try to repeat the concept a lot of times. 1, 2. So just basically 1 here. So basically you want to go hit. And then do this. So here's the time. So just make sure that you have the right idea. Opponent delivers number 1 strike. Strike to number 1 hand. So you strike through the hand. Then you step up with a number 4 elbows hit and finish with a overhead 2, pushing the person back by tapping or hacking with your left hand. So here. 1. So bang. So hit, hit, hit. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Here or bang, bang. Here. Hold my elbow. I will wear a pair of pads, not because I think he's an animal, but because I know he's an animal. Oh, I don't know if I have any. Yes, I do have. I have a pad. Okay, we've done it for about an hour now. What I would like to do is I would like to take this time for questions that may exist. If that's possible.
Guys, anybody has question, please feel free to ask. Tuhon
You can
Philip.
also get water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me, can you show me a deflection against an attack number 2?
Okay. 1, deflection here. 5, like this, yeah. Deflection against, yeah.
Against my against
Or you're going to see more deflection. Okay, this is against the Juego Todo version. Hit, hit. So against the Juego Todo, hit, hit. 1, 2, 1, and 2, 1, 2 is that here. Or 1. So against the number 1 attack, I do the same thing. I break it, and that's when it's on the cross. Against number 2. So I do the same 4, but I do it against a 1 or 2 variable. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. Other questions?
Tuhon, there was also a no contact. I saw you doing a no contact, just like GT keeps saying, contact and no contact. The same technique was delivered with the no contact from 1 to 4. Is that correct?
Well, if you're not going to contact them, then you're not going to hit them. So it's done. So anyway, but I guess it means yes.
In the scheme of, how does this fall in the contrada scenario? Or is that the,
Okay, well, I will explain that. So, anyway, so when are we doing? When we're doing this one, so you can go here 1, 2. You can do this is combining the single stick contradas. I could say the. So you can, yeah, the idea, well, one of the things we're going to go into later is that you want to be able to blend all of your existing methodos or anything you've done, whether it's Tri-V or whatever, anything in Pikiti is mixable with other things in Pikiti. The idea is, in fact, that's your aim. Your aim is not to have 12 methods that somehow exist independently, like 12 countries in the United Nations that may never talk to each other, but they pay their money so they get to sit down in New York. But the idea is that we don't want to be like that. We want to be like a federation. Our techniques are like a federation. So this may be, Juego Todo may be great, but it's only great because it has Juego Torada. It's only great because it has deflection. It doesn't. It's not great because it can smash, like the Hulk. It works because it can go 1, 2, and just as you see the person fleeing, and then you can nail them this way. So you have a series of variables that are able to give you the options to do more or less, depends on what you want to do. For example, we have 12 methods. Now, the last 3 methods now, the 12 métodos, I'm not going to argue with people because there are people, the reason is I have my, it's like arguing about religion, if you will. It sort of says, okay, well, you look back at all the books, maybe they all came from the same source. Yes, but they didn't because my guy came and did it. Say, okay, yeah, whatever. No problem. All I'm saying is that you should be able to mix Juego Todo because it's based on the 5 attack lines. You have 1 line and 2 line, 3 line and 4 line. And then you have the canastas, which are the thrusting techniques. But that's what you want to do. You want to blend them together. If I have the best right hand and I do this, that's only going to work when the person's open. This works a lot better if you have this. So as soon as the person realizes I have twice as much to deal with, I can do that. I can fake. And so that's really, really important to our lifestyle, if you will. But okay, what I need you to do now is we're going to take a break for water. We're going to give ourselves a few minutes, and I will get more stuff.
Yeah. Take a water break, Tuhon. Thank you.
construction around here?
Well, no, it's not true. They're pulling off the street again. I think the street through this.
That's why they have some here. Yeah. Thanksgiving.
Can't be Thanksgiving.
It's Christmas.
Your birthday's on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I know. It's always something.
I see you. I see you. I like to think it's like an hour or something like that.
Yeah, I know, but it's, you know, it's like, it's just, the thing about COVID is that it's changed everybody's idea about how to do stuff. It's not like, oh, this makes it better, it doesn't make it better. But doing more of this type of stuff, because it forces you to actually learn some of the rules. Because it was funny, this chap was supposed to be doing this thing today.
Equator?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He called me, we were finishing meetings this morning, so yeah, but if I don't know, either that or it's gonna be, it doesn't matter. So I'm still doing it. I don't, you wanna come? I don't even see you. So, and you say you were there. Oh, I really liked your style. Oh, you were there, yeah.
I don't think it's like that.
No. I realize that, but I'm just saying that.
Yeah, anybody.
You can, I loved your seminar. Which one?
Well,
Yeah, so, the same deal.
I have to say, COVID and technology, the access to people that would have had to, travel,
Oh, yeah, and the thing is nowadays, especially with it's weird. I see somebody trying to lies so deeply and everybody thinks it's so great.
I was reading a short, I was looking for a documentary on patent. I knew about that, but I want to read something about it. And then they didn't have any book. So, well, look, there's something there. So it's a study on patents. And it's a clinical psychologist. And reading the book, I can think of, oh, that's true. So, you just probably Trump.
Yeah, the difference is Trump was in charge of everybody.
I don't know.
He wanted to be in charge of everybody. He wasn't able to do it. Anytime, he would be able to run with his tanks. But once he would, but then, he's up or marshal or something in charge, he'd say, okay, stop.
Well, we had some good actions from what I've read. This guy's unbiased. He wasn't thinking one way or another. Because there's one of his nephew wrote one greatly he wrote. So there's a little cartoon. There's a project who did cartoons for the US, whatever it was, press. The military press. I didn't like his cartoons. So the cartoon is this. You see a soldier with a cheap freezing his ass off. It says, "Patent his guts and out the way." And it was, I finished the book and I like it. Well, he's describing another narcissist who's in charge of everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's narcissistic. It's only bad if they're loud.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, that's the thing. It's like, the patent, more or less, he did what he said he was going to do.
He did what he said.
He said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go, my tanks are going to be here, and I'm going to do this. And he did it.
The funny thing is, I kind of always thought that, but this was really confirmed. He's always asking for fuel. He's always, because he's so far ahead of everybody, he's always running out of fuel and supplies. So what he started to do? He predicted. He was ready for it. He's good.
Yeah. Most of the stuff we're going to start combining how the other stuff works with other systems. So, for example, the red tape stuff, and we're going to do the stuff in cat
This is loading position count 1 and 2.
So we can revisit it.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. But, yeah. I don't know. I keep it secret.
You made a good point. It's the best kept secret. I've been doing martial arts for a while. The more I see it, the more I is that age or is that Seriously, it's got everything.
But there was stuff we used to do that was really quite amazing, but I haven't done it forever. And I know, I can see a lot of people, unfortunately, when it comes to bikini, say that TT got together with all the grandmasters about all of our stolen stuff. I would say, I'm not saying it in a negative way. Not because he wouldn't have taken stuff, but more like I consider myself fairly well versed in this material. And for me to learn something new isn't an overnight thing. It's like I have to spend time, I have to work very hard to learn. Say that he was able to steal everybody's stuff and somehow put it together so well that when he arrived here, it was all in a perfectly combined package. It's to say,
I don't agree with
stealing
stealing stuff. I don't agree with that.
but I don't think you can steal stuff. It's like if you're doing stuff, it's kind of even. I understand why, like musicians, for example, get upset when somebody when they come up with a guitar chord or whatever, right? A lead line and somebody steals it. And you go, yeah, okay. But really, I was at a in the 70s, big 70s, I was around I was out on tour with Monty Rush.
I saw that. I couldn't believe it. Sorry. I couldn't believe it.
And I was on tour with this band, and it was funny because I was, we finished loading out. We were like one of the opening acts where I get coffee party. So anyway, so I was like, I was sleeping, and I was like, and I was hearing this guy playing, and it was just ripping off. I could do four bars of a song. And you take the lead, and you take this from the song, this from the song, so like actually together, all this stuff. But it was like value, so stuff from Japan. That's the thing.
Still on down, and it's been extended to January 11th. Maybe it's forbidden Christmas expensive. That doesn't make any sense. If some of the school business sense, well, you're good. Almost all of the talking that you're talking about.
That's why I'm nervous.
So, you know, 5 copies of this. I'm a
Yeah.
slave to caffeine.
Yeah, it's a matter of you have enough material to cover
Oh,
all these.
I'm sure you are.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay.
I'll stay here.
I guess we can start again. Hello, hello.
Yes, Tuhon, we can start.
Okay, let's start. Okay, so are we starting? Here we are. Let's start.
Yes, Tuhon, good to go. Good to go.
Yeah. Okay. So the next part is when we go Toronto versus angle 1. So basically when we feed 1s and 2s, we're going to do this. Or we can do this. One, up, the other. So Toronto, yes, right. We can do that. We're just doing 1s and 2s because it's convenient. Because it's like doing the break in, break out, or the Banastat, or the magazine. When we do this here, all this is giving us, because we're not going to actually do that. If I'm fighting you, I've never fought anybody doing that kind of stuff in all the years. Talk about it, stuff like that. It's they're trying to hit you. They're not going, oh, 1, 2, 3. Okay, on 5, 3, 1, 2. No, they don't kill you. They frame of reference points. So it's the same idea. So we do ones and twos in learning this material. Why? Because we're looking for that framework. It's not the idea of doing stuff doesn't get me going. The idea of succeeding and learning stuff, that's what gets me going. So Fuego Torado versus angle 1. So go like this. Correct. So one. So now what happens is we start with a 2, and so yeah, basically reverse angle direct attack. So strike make contact, 2 versus 2 here, and then when he comes in, I will come down. So instead of I go 1, 2, so 1, here it is. So I go 3, and then this. So basically, the formula for you is strike make contact with 2 versus 2. Before the attacker can deliver another strike, deliver number 3, which is number 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here, bang. So I go like this, and then I bring it down here. So 2 and 3. So I'm going here, 1, here. So I want to go in like this, bang, inside direct. So it's a reverse to direct hit. Okay. So 1 and 2. As he comes in, I come in with this. So that becomes my loop. My order total. 2, 3, 4. Okay. If we're doing this one, 1, 2, 1. Actually, that's sort of 1, 2, 1, 2. So 1, right, and then 2. 1,
No, Toronto is.
Could you turn off your TV, please? I don't know that.
Someone's television is on.
Yeah, I guess they're bored by what I'm doing.
No. Someone's TV is on. Okay.
So I'm going to. Again, your turn. 1, 2.
It's 1 and 2.
Yeah. That's it. Just give you a sense of here it is, and looking at the 2, I see the 2, I know it's there, and I do my 3 as my deflection. Okay, so that is the first one of the Lego Torado series. So that's reverse to direct hit. Okay, and then this one comes up. So now reverse to deflection. So we go 2 versus 2, and as the attacker delivers a 1, use number 3 uppercut, but to the outside. So here, so basically 2 versus 2, then 1. So hit. So yeah, 1, 2.
Yeah, that was it. I guess by. Yeah.
Yeah, so here's 1, 2. 1, 2. So I'm looking for him to make 2 versus 2. And then as if the person comes with a 1, I do a 3 uppercut to deflect. So when I'm here like this, I want the outside line here, or inside line. You go. Inside line. There's the outside line. There's one. And there's the outside line. So go in here. Then reverse the deflection. So as the attacker delivers 2 versus delivers a 2. So I'm doing a 2, use a 3 to uppercut and reflect the incoming weapon. So, oh yeah, okay. Now the first one is reverse to direct hit. So 1, 2, here, this. So when we do this one here, so the second one was here. Actually, direct hit. 1 hit. So I was aiming at you. I'm not doing this. This one, back here.
Hi, Alex. You need to put your mic off, please. Everybody, put your mic off. Thank you so much.
Bakit?
Yeah, that's something I guess.
Right. So as angle number 2, use a 3 to uppercut, deflect that incoming weapon, then strike down with number 2. One, 2. So he's going to get me 1 and 2. So making sure we have the right thing. Use number 3 uppercut. So here. 1, 2, 3. Actually, it's 4. 1, 2, 3. That's this one. And 1, 2, 3. Right. So 1, 2. Bang. So this one is here. This is bang. So here. 1, 2. Uppercut. So that's a direct hit. And here. Deflect. One, 4. Basically, those are the three. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the Panastas series. The Panastas series is very, very important because it gives you the thrusting component of the slashes. So when you're doing 5 attacks, for example, it's 1 and 2, 3, and 4. But we always learn that 1 is followed by 8, 2 is followed by 5, 3 is followed by, or 4 is followed by 9. So bang, bang. You just need to be able to do these things. So you have these drills. So there's 3 basic drills that exist in the Juego Toro, Juego Tirada system, which are probably lifted, as is from the system. So what we do is we do the same thing. So 1, 2. So when we do slowly, I would thrust him. He comes in. So 4 wall. Now you'll start seeing things like, for example, you'll start hearing little phrases in Pequita Garcia saying, for example, that the slash is countered by, a 4 wall is countered by the umbrella, things like that. And you have absolutely no clue what the heck they're talking about. But if I'm here like this, I'm thrusting, he's doing a 4 wall, and then I do an umbrella. So 2, thrust, and I do an umbrella number. At the beginning, you need to just do the technique. 1, going 1, and then you just go. You just need to get the bar now. 1, 5. thing is, at this level, you don't counter. You merely let the person go here, 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 here. Just have to get a sense of, as I do this, you see the person comes back to the four. The thing is, what they should be working at is catching with doing an umbrella or doing the four wall. And when they do the four wall, the tip aims at the person. So it becomes like one, and then he would thrust then. But right now we're not doing the thrust. So as I do this, 1, 2, hit, hit. Okay, so now the second, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce a second drill. We're not going to do all drills. We're going to introduce each one independently. So now here, I thrust, and then he does this, and then I turn it. So I turn it, I do my 9 into an 8 right away. 9, hit. One of the things I have to learn to do is I go beside, thrust, I go down, and here. So I can't just go here, and then I'm going to stab. So I have to go hit, hit.
Slide Tuhon.
Okay, well, no, you didn't just there.
Tuhon, I have one question.
Yes,
Can I ask you?
please do.
Okay, so my question is like, how does this Hoikotoro Panastas Kedi overlaps with the Siete-Tero, the Dose Methodos, or the Pitong Sugod?
Okay, well,
Because that's also Panastas Kedi.
okay, the 7 attacks. The Siete-Teros is like this: 1, 2, 3. So like this. So 1, 2, 3. So if I was like this, 1. So I would come in, I'd go for his ear, and then down toe, and then
Yeah.
here, lock up bounce, and then
Yeah.
here, 1, 2, hit, and then here, and then as we step in here. So this movement, 1, 2, 3, is based on that same idea. Like I go here and then thrust. So he goes here, turn, here, turn. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So the drill would be learned first, and so that when you're like this, so 1 hit. So I think it's here, here, and so 1, 2 hit, hit. So you strike 1 hit, down, hit, and then you basically off balance the person here.
Yeah.
And then way, sit away, and then
And the forehand, yes.
step on their toes, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But the reality is of these things is that, in a lot of this, you have to kind of make your own connections. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Part of the idea is that, like, for example, when I first learned the Bangising, the Dakum Pointing Toe, it was like this. It was like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but I guess it was like here, so 1 here, that. But it was here. It was like 1. Because the drill, when you look at the drill is thrust, up and back.
Yeah.
Up, and back. But the reality is that that's not how it works. If you trust me, I will go here. Then I should be right away popping him in the face, coming up here. So he has to move, and then I should be going here. So he, right, and then I thrust him in, and down, which is not the same as the whole movement. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's there, but it's going to go. Where I practice it is this way. Yeah, well,
Knew it.
I mean, I just, you know, it's, to me, it's taught in a long range, but it's not, but Pagidi is not very long range at the beginning anyway. So if I'm here like this, part of the thing, for example, when I first learned, maybe we would go wrist to wrist and then stick to stick, and people would go, and they would make up stories about how, you know, if you close your eyes, you know, you can feel. But the reality is this: if I go like this, and he pushes my arm, I don't care who he is, he's going to probably beat me, because this movement is very weak. You know, here, and put your arm up like that. Yes, right. I'm bigger than him, but that's not the point. The point is, this is not very strong. As soon as he goes like this, and I push it, it's big. It's a big difference. So the stick, going to stick, it's, you know, you can say, oh, it's all for sensitivity. It is, maybe, but the reality is also its strength. Because now, if I go like this, if I'm here on my weight, on my back leg, and he pushes me, and I side step, I have the movement. And what I'm looking for is something that, in a situation, I'm not going to go, oh, because if it's between living and dying, and the person goes, oh, I'm going to go out of the way, and then strike, and then get him out of the way. Right. So here, come on, like this, up. That's why sometimes the 7 attacks, it's a bit of a quandary. It creates an idea that I'm doing this, and doing this. But in reality, I should be here. I should be kicking his leg. I should be kicking his groin. I should be coming down here. I should possibly disarm him. I want to be able to do an awful lot of things to him. I can't do that if I'm following a very particular dictum of like 1. So right now, he should disarm me. No, sorry. I mean, like this, like 1, drop it down. Oh, right. Now, we go like this. So that works. But if I'm here like this, right, so here. So now, he goes 1, and I go here. Oh, okay. It's mostly made up stuff at the beginning, but you know, you have to be able to go here. So if I make this, 1, make it right. So here, bang, hit. And if I can take him down, great. You know, pop. It's
Got
not
it,
like,
got it.
it has to be that way. It's, you have to kind of, it's, you know, when they say that Filipino martial arts is a voyage of discovery, they're not lying. You have to need an understanding of what it is and what it doesn't exist by itself. It exists as a unit. And if I'm here like this, it's like if I'm a wrestler, I want to do a single leg. A certain way you do it, but eventually you do it the way it works. And what is the way it works? You know, you have a guy like this. I grab his leg, I pull him up, and then I scoop him. I take the other leg, or I trip him this way, or do whatever I can do, a high crotch or a single leg. It's like, but the most important thing, I mean, all the wrestlers I had, or the wrestling coaches I had over the years, taught me slightly different variations, because that's really what it's all about. You are going to do variations because there's a certain technical thing. You say, okay, you have this is your base. But to say that this is the way to do it, every which way, all the time, is presumptuous. It's like, you know, you need to be able to adjust what you do, because that's the circumstances we find ourselves in. You know,
Thank you, Tuhon.
If I come like this, bang, and you can close here, right? You know, and if I can duck, all of a sudden, they get wet away, okay. Or if I can't, and he smashes me in the head, like if he goes bang, right, whack, boom, and, you know, takes away, well, then I've lost. I don't want to go and say, yes, this is the way. Anyway, we'll get back to the second way.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so here we are. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Okay, so here we are. We're going to be doing number 2 of the.
All right.
Yes. Okay, right. So 1, right. so that's the number 2. Number 3, slightly different. So what we're going to do is 1, 2. We're doing the same movement. So what my attack is thrust slash. So I do a number 9 and slash, a number 8 and a slash. But the slash is not really his body, though. If I was that fast, it would be great. But I want to go attack. And then by the time that he gets the third one, he should have that I go here. So we're doing this big slash. So what we have is 4 strikes. 3 are, the first one is a broken, and here, here, and here. 1, 2, 3. So those are the 3 variables. So now we're going to play a game because what we're going to do is we're going to have to see what we can do about all those together. Oh, yes. So I can go 1, 2, or I can go 1, 2. So if you do it fast enough, 1, then I can catch you. 1, right? No, there's 1. So that's now you see why. Oh, jeez. Start seeing you can really play the game a lot. As I charge him because I'm like twice his size. But hey, life goes on.
I'll choose my opponents.
Yeah, fun, huh? Okay. Next thing we're going to do is a harass and switch strategy. Okay. You advance towards the opponent with continuous strikes on one line. So the Juego Toro or it doesn't really matter until the opponent decides to counter. As he enters, use an overhead strike to switch sides for recounter. Use this method to keep him responding before he's ready. So the harass and switch strategy is really good. So if I'm going to get 1, 2, this. Sorry about that. A little too real. So basically a harass and switch strategy is I'm attacking, I get 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Wow. So doesn't really matter what I do. Whether I do a Hoigo Tirada, so right now I'm doing Hoigo Toro. So I'm doing Harada Tirada. Okay, thanks. I can do the overhead step. I can do the overhead like this one. I can do this one. I can go and do this one. Repeat. So, but I can also go. Sorry about that. I get carried away. You can start using angles, you can use inflections, you can use a lot of things. Okay, so in order to create an opening, one will advance and harass the opponent with quick reversing strikes. So it says to the opponent changes his pattern or rhythm to deflect or counter. At that point, one can immediately switch to another line of attack, Juego Toro, or deliver finishing blows to the opening. One can then add overhand to the next slash. So that's basically, it's not a very complex system. So now, how you would be able to apply other methods to this, so the other applications. So if I'm here like this, if I'm doing a medium load, for example, we did Floreti stuff. So if I'm doing like this, 1, 2, so we can go 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can go, hey, let me just sort of change. 1, 2. Right, you can go 4 lines, but here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or just like this, never mind here. 1, 2, hit. 1, 2. So you go directly, high, boom, directly high.
Change the title.
Right, so you can change the timing by adding a Floreti or whatever. So now another variant, another application, okay, if you did a medium load, as the opponent delivers on number 1, use a horizontal number 3 to the elbow and finish with a medium load. So here like this. So for example, as the opponent delivers number 1, so I would use this as this. Okay, just to remind you, the medium load goes like this. Centrito, 4, 2, and then set up like this. So if I were like this, if I'm here, boom, yeah. So as it comes to the 1, I go here, down, up, and then here. And I can then, just because I'm doing this one here, I go 1, 2, up. I can then follow this because it's the same. It's the same two. Basically, have the same line as the. We have reverse vertical strike. So here, so bang, centrifugal verticals, reverse vertical strike here, number 4, and overhead number 2. So bang, so give you that. So if I'm here like this, 1, 2, 1, yes, there one here, here, here. So as can step in with my left, catch it here, because the person is in Juego Toro, which makes it a bit. I can do that. One, one, two. So now you can assimilate this stuff. So now all the seguidas can also work on this, because when I'm doing this one here, like, for example, if I do this here, 1, 2. Now, this isn't the, right now we're doing single stick stuff. So the contradas, all that kind of stuff. But we're making this here, first contradas, we do it like this. We don't do a strike and follow down. We go no contact, down, up, down. So an awful lot of the movements are there. So what you can do is you can do contradas line, and you can adapt them because they're very simple lines. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's not like somebody coming in with a fancy movement. So you just hit, go, hit, down, up. So it's the same idea as, basically no contact, contact. So and down. Right, so now here, like this. 1, 2, yeah, so here. Right, so everybody goes one. Now my feeling is that these always existed within the context of the deco puño and stuff like that. So we're doing the movement here. So we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3 here. If I have this hand here, down, back, that's first seguida. Or bang, 1, 2, 3, roll, move, bam. Just an idea. When we do the number 2 as seguidas, I try to do it like this, hit, hit, hit. So when I do this one here, I bring it down, and instead of going like, I know that traditionally it used to go like this, bang, and then poke in the eye. The only problem is there's a lot of people in Bikini who get really excited for nothing. And they get, I want to do it really fast. And they'll take your eyes out without even thinking about it. They'll be very apologetic. I don't want to have somebody apologize to me. I want them not to do it to begin with. They'll say it's not who's right, it's who's left. Well, same deal. So here, what I did for my umbrella, hit 1, down, up, hit, hit, go like this, bang. So if I go like this, if I'm the biggest asshole in the world, I'm a piece of wood, maybe I'm gonna give him a splinter here. I'm not gonna do it, it's all right. But if I catch him really hard, unless he's got an appendicitis or something, I'm probably just gonna give him a bruise. Whereas if I go like this, I take his eye out. That eye is never coming back. I may be the most apologetic guy in the world. It won't do any good. And I do a lot of, there's a reason why people who wear protective equipment, we in the Dog Brothers wear a mask. Why? People, I've seen some videos online. Oh, we don't wear a mask. But you don't hit in the head either. So, it's like saying, it's like people who go, oh yeah, well we don't do this. And say, yeah, but you don't take advantage of that position either. Just to not do, well, it's dangerous. You can get hit in the head. So why not wear a mask? And when heavyweight boxers are fighting, you can get killed by these guys' punches. They still wear, when they're training for a fight, they wear the biggest jock straps you've ever seen. They wear tons and tons of stuff. They wear big headgear. They wear big mouse guards. They wear 16 or 18-ounce gloves. They don't fight like they're going to fight. They're smart. So anyway, so very good. So when we do these things, here it is. For example, in the second set of keys, this. So this thing is behind me with thrust. That is the number 2 of the second set of cicadas. So there it is, bang. So I would have a hit, bang, and then it comes down and down. It's incidental. How would you do it? But that's all this stuff. Everything will work. Again, it's not like this is so basic that nothing else will work with it. Everything will work with it. And if I'm at 1, 2, 1, 2, boom, I have an umbrella. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, okay, so like this. Right, bang, okay. Same deal, same thing. Okay, so one of the deals we did yesterday that you can start working with. This is like something that we worked in. If you're here like this and go 1, and so flywheel, and do forehand, bang. So here, so I go here. So here, trio, 1, here, bang. So let's figure out how we work. Yeah. So forehand, boom. You can take any footwork drill. If you can make it effective, you can take that and you can apply it. The biggest problem when any of this stuff happens is not, whether or not it will fit. It's will it fit? Will you be able to use it? Because if you can use it, then people say, well, it's not what you're supposed to be doing. It's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And now when it comes to this stuff, when you start doing the third set, the first set of cicadas is very easy to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is. Or actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then second one, 1, 2, 3. And here, bang, pop. Third one, 1, 2, uppercut. Hit, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Boom. There's all of that. Second set here. So you just have all of these movements here. So you can see, coming to 1, 2, whoa. Apply that. The third one, here it is. And I go here, yes. 1, 2, 1, 2, bang, bang. 5. Here, like this. Here, bang, bang. Controls come in. And bang, here. You can do that stuff. It's insane. Here you get the third set. All it is just close quarter stuff. So you have, for example, here, it's like bang, bang, here, 1, here, up, bang, here, boom. It's a matter of, once you get past this thing, all it is, close and umbrella. You want to use the wall because you want to use something else. But if I'm short one, I get umbrella. It's up to you. So is there, so basically the bridging techniques between different ranges, center line oriented, follow-up attacks, set 1, 2, and 3. That's how this stuff works. So when you're here, cicadas means bridge. So you want to integrate intercontratus flow using major minor stuff. So for example, if you're doing this, all right, here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So here, see, that's the same idea. So here, so forehand, backhand, closer to 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, right. So you want to be able to take that and that. So here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Here, so right. So here. These are the the myriad of techniques that you can apply. So 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 Pangigo drills, the Tradas for that. The clock system from Crown Load, you can go like this, clock, bang, so you're like this. So anytime you want to do this, man, one, you can attack. That's the idea. You want to attack. It's an attack system. Pete said it's close quarter because it wants to be in close quarter. The only way you can get in close quarter is by attacking. Nobody else is going to want to be there besides you. I can assure you. So if you're comfortable to be there, then you will successfully get this done. Anyway, so I need to know, are there any questions at the moment?
Guys, any question you're free to ask Tuhon Philip. Any question you guys have, you can put your speaker on and then you can ask. Okay, Steve,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Philip? I have a question. Hi, Tuhon. I remember the days when we put together the Dose Methodos, and the part with the Juego Tirada, Juego Todo system was had very little in it. And
Yes, I
I
know.
see you've developed an awful lot since you distributed this. And
Okay.
so I wonder.
Okay, go ahead.
So you've included applications and you've integrated it with other systems, and I wonder whether you could provide some additional sort of information that would fill in that segment.
Okay, so yeah, I can. So I'm going to basically give you a little history. So a few years ago, I was teaching a seminar, a pediatric seminar in Burlington, Vermont, and a woman who studied in Texas before, a woman by the name of Jeanette Ladores, who's one of those famous, she's a well-known nurse in the New Jersey area. She's spending a lot of her time working on COVID-19 at the moment. But she was talking to a friend of hers, and she mentioned those two words, Juego Todo, Juego Tirada, and I was freaked out. I was talking to somebody and I heard it. I mean, my ears weren't used to it, and I went over and I said, "Excuse me, I heard you talking about Juego Todo, right? But I heard about this, but I'd never seen it. And could you give me any information?" And it turns out Leslie Buck from Austin, Texas, was the person who had taught her this method. And so I contacted Leslie, because I knew him from Bikini and knew him from stuff. And he said, well, I asked him, would I be able to go down and spend the weekend to get some of this information? So I did one weekend. I was so happy with what I saw that he allowed me to come again and again. And so I would get there at like 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and I would stay till Sunday evening and fly back. And it was amazing because all this information that I have came from him. So what happened is that GT never taught this method in New York. Otherwise, I would have been able to get it. He was in New York from about 1973 or 72 to about 1982. He, at that point, left and went to Big Spring. A guy who was learning from him in those days by the name of Erwin Bayarta. He's a high-ranking guy. He is one of GT's Tuhons, but he had kind of fallen away from the system, so GT didn't promote him to Tuhon until later. I think he probably would have been there much earlier. But he was a lieutenant in the Big Spring Police Department, and then he went off to the Department of Public Safety in Texas, which is another word for the Texas Rangers. I guess the Texas Rangers was kind of like a not very cool thing to be, and you want to, let's call it Department of Public Safety. It's easier. And so they did that, and but Leslie learned it all from Erwin. Erwin had moved, was actually staying with GT when he first moved to Texas, and so I guess GT was, wanted to give him something that was not like what was there. So, so GT, who had moved from New York at that time, and then started teaching out of Big Spring, Texas, and then I think. I don't know exactly where he went first, but I know he'd been in Albuquerque. He was in Nashville. Nashville was, I think, the last place he was at before he went back to the Philippines in '89. And so this information, all this information came from Leslie because it was stuff that he had gotten from Irwin. And the idea is that I think one of the most telling things is that you'll see, you will never see Tri-V, you'll never see Juego Todo spoken of specifically, but he also or always uses the terms Tri-V, and Tri-V is the methodology that I think that the Juego Todo kind of ended up as. It was one of those things where it was a way of teaching. It was a simple way of teaching, but a very effective way of teaching, very aggressive. And excuse me. And it was a way to teach. I think it was also a methodology of teaching you could blend it with the way the police and army were being taught in those days, because that was a primary consideration for him. Getting involved with teaching the Marines and the action recon force and people like that, and the police. That was the way to get legitimacy for what you did. You could be the best, whatever, but if you didn't have legitimacy, nobody would deal with you. And so he got, I met in those days, I think a Major Escarma, and he became a general. He did a lot of stuff for the army, but anyway, yeah, this Juego Todo, Juego Trata, I read, as you say, the notes I had in the old days, there was like 3 lines. I think, means slap force, translates as free play, and it used in whatever, and I had nothing until about 2017 is when I was able to contact Leslie Buck. And the thing is, I had spoken to him and trained with him before, but those words never came out because it was never a part of it. It was never more. There was never more to it than that. Now I'm in the process of, now that I've integrated this material into what I do, I'm now I'm looking for more. I'm hoping that, by planting the seeds in more places, that more people will get it, because, I don't care how good anybody is. If you ever look at any kind of technology evolution, it's very rarely one person. Like the guy who invented the laptop or the personal computer didn't do much besides that. I mean, you look at all the big advantageous evolutions. It's somebody else sees the potential and then works on it. So to say that, this guy invented the laptop, well, that's great. But the laptop was probably a lot heavier than it is now. The original one. In Juego Todo, Juego Trata, there's a bunch of stuff. People, the people using it are going to make it better. That's in my mind. That's why people say, when people try to hide stuff, you don't get much advancement when you hide things. You get more advancement when it's open and available to everybody. So, I think.
Thank you. I have one more question. So,
okay,
basically, Tri-V obscured the Juego Todo, Juego Tirada, and in bringing it back out, do you think, are there, can one use it can one develop it with knife or with double stick?
What are we talking? Are we talking about the Juego Todo again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you can, because I think that an awful lot of the stuff that GT did to develop Tri-V was taking the same methodology that existed in Juego Todo, and he just sort of expanded it. I mean, I see him often doing this, like here, and this is kind of like the clock system. So in the clock system, we would go, if you're doing this one, so bang. So the clock system in bikini starts like this. You do this, bang, bang, bang. You stop after the 7 attacks. Go 1. You come here. You go 1 and 2. So you got, this is not a thrust. It's a we tick. We tick up to the groin and we tick to the top of the head. And then 10 wing ticks with the face of the tongue. So it's 2, 11, 3, 10. 1, 11, 2, 10, 3, 9, 4, 8, 5, 7, and then here, bang, here, and here. Now that's the clock system, but there's a lot more to it, the clock system than that. So yes, so you could, if I'm here like this, so if I'm doing this, this is kind of like, so if I just turn myself here, bang, soon as I would tick, boom. So if I'm like this, here. So I can go one, I can change, I have any angle I want. That's the thing that you're looking for. You're looking for the ability to go beyond where you are, not something new or something, most of the time it's just a variation on an old thing, but it's a new variation on an old thing, and it works very well. I mean, like, for example, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu doesn't change anybody's technique, but why are they always successful against everybody else trying to stop them? I mean, but just to go, contrary to that, Royce Gracie was there in what, 93 or something, fighting, and he was a skinny little kid who had a kimono on, and he beat all the guys and he won. Within a couple of years, it was like this. There was the jiu-jitsu guys up here and here, and then very rarely and very shortly thereafter, having a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was advantageous, but it wasn't overwhelmingly advantageous. It didn't all of a sudden, it wasn't like it was here and it was like that for 20 years, and then slowly these guys learned it, and then boom, because wrestlers could do stuff, they learned what the techniques were, and they learned how to work them, and then they learned how to counter them. So good wrestlers were always very effective as fighters, but if you create a situation whereby an effective fighter has been by rules or by circumstances or experience, if I say, okay, let's fight, and I don't tell you I have a gun and I shoot you, well, that's pretty much of a game changer. But if I'm just wrestling with you and you're a wrestler already, well, I'm probably going to find myself twisted into knots. So it depends on what kind of. I'm not saying that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was like a gun, but it was definitely, the whole thing was done as a way of expanding and exposing the art, which is perfectly legitimate. It's just that now having a Brazilian having a Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, is not a guarantee of any success. There's a ton of guys who've been knocked out cold with that are in position of those things. Nowadays, your skill at three things: your skill at submission, your skill at wrestling, and your skill at stand-up are probably going to hold you in great stead. Whereas before it was like, if you're a wrestler, you probably massacre most people or whatever. The nail sports put in weight classes, which evolved and changed everything. If you happen to be like 10 feet tall, it doesn't matter what how much they may want to kick you in the head. They're not going to be able to. You're too far. Anyway,
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Tuhon, Steve has a question.
Okay,
so
Steve.
Everybody else can put on mute. Steve can unmute himself. Steve, you have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay, I'm mute. Hello, Philippe.
Hello, ça va?
Ça va bien? Okay, my question, my question is about, but you almost answer my question, but about, I remember we have done at your school seminar with GT, about the 3V formula, okay?
Yeah.
And now I know the relation with the Juego, but I remember they talk about the open and the closed triangle for the upper body. For the upper body. So chamber here, chamber here. Chamber on the top, or chamber there. Do you have, and Juego is always there, or you could do that?
No, well, okay. In official terms, Juego Toro is on your right shoulder. You can also do it on top of the head. So, for example, if I was doing top of the head, this could be my Juego Toro, my Juego Toro, and then my shoulder Juego Toro. Now here, when I do this one, I do the Centrito, and then I can do Juego Toro. I start the Juego Toro, but from the bottom. So I can start it from the top, or I can start it from the bottom. But in Juego Tirada, this is just like, you could, I can be Juego Toro here, 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 and then I can do Juego Tirada, or back to Juego Toro. The idea is like, a power line is, if you're right-handed, chances are you're going to be striking like this anyway.
Mhm.
So you're going to be this. You're going to be, so you want to do this because it's a powerful way of countering the person. And so when I'm attacking 1, 2, 1, 2, and so then when I'm able to do this here, so then if I change it, it's like there. Oh, okay, so now I do this. We find that this is a line. This is also sometimes known as the other shoulder load. But the only problem is that as far as we're concerned, is that it exposes the elbow too much.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I'm like this, you know, a guy like this, whack, you know, and this elbow is like, you know, whereas here, you know, you can use your body movement. Here, you can strike it like this. You can parry it. You know, even when you do this one, you can parry it. And so if I go like this here, and I do there, I'm not leaving it back here. I'm always, you know, doing this type of thing. But yeah, in front.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Steve, you can mute yourself. Okay, Tuhon, there's a question from Andre, and he's asking, can we apply Hoigo Todo with double stakes? And if you can show a combo or something to explain how in double stake Hoigo Todo can be. And after this, Jade will ask a question to you.
Okay.
But first,
So-
the double stick here.
Okay. Basically, you have a choice. You can sort of go, okay, so bang. So 1, 2. You can do this with double sticks. So Hoigo Todo here. So you go 1 here and thrust, here, hit, here. And so then here, bang, hit. You basically can go Hoigo Todo, Hoigo Torada. But the thing is, you wouldn't be that way. You would. The idea is, Hoigo Todo was created as a technique, a power technique against this. So if you're going to do that, chances are you're going to be here. You know, you're going to be doing this one. This will be as a. You know, you can go here. You basically have it as a. They call it like a silent silent partner. So I'm doing this one like this, and then here. So I would umbrella here, and then that would give me that line. But yeah, I mean, the idea is to say, oh, you know, this is only for single stick, or it's only for single sword. Yeah, but to say that is to already give yourself limitations. So if I want to hit, if I want to, you know, I basically, you know, because when it comes to this stuff, there's 1,000 things. I mean, Bikini Tercia contains so much more than we are giving ourselves permission to see. For example, in double stick, so we have the attacks, which are, you know, right from here. So we have what's called, we have the dirty dozen, which is sort of like here. So we have a 1 and a 2, etc. And then we have the you know, then we have kind of like the movement. So here like this, the fluid attack, you know, we have the broken attack here, and then we have the switching, and then the other techniques. And we have all these movements, and then we have more advanced movements. But most people don't know the advanced movements. When it comes to stuff like that, you know, when you start seeing the butterfly, you know, people say, well, what is a butterfly? Well, it's going here, 1, here. But, you know, there's a drill. So this is an 8. This is a 9. This is an 8. This is an 8, 9, 8, 8. So here like this. So you can have all the Panasta Suketi stuff is there. So here, bang. So we can do that. And so there's drills that we would practice when somebody's how to change this drill into this drill. So you're doing thrusts. You can't say that you're just doing thrusts. You can't say you're just doing slashes, because as long as people know a doorway to get out, they're not going to be there. They're not going to stand there and wait for you. They're going to change it, and that's going to be the way it works.
Okay, I hope Andre answers your question. And Tuhon, now Jade wants to ask you a question.
Okay,
GT's
Jade.
daughter, she's here. Yeah.
Hi, Uncle. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you, Jade?
I'm good. I'm good. So, I guess on Friday, I went to go train with Ness and Tuhon Nick, and we reviewed it. And we were doing drills and following from diffusion or deflection
Right.
of going, you know, Toro or Torada, but
Right.
going and following the strike, when you follow the strike.
Okay.
Am I articulating it correctly? When you switch over, deflect, and then you follow the strike?
Okay, I will show you. Here, okay, so here we are. Here we are. So I'm going to do this one like this, right? So if I go here, so if I'm like this, so if I'm doing a deflection here like this, here, so I can go here, so one, so you do ones and twos. So 1 and 2. Now we're using ones and twos simply as a methodology. It's kind of like saying it's like a transfer method. So when we do 1, 2, so anytime forehand or backhand. Okay, so then I'm just right now I know he's going to do 1 and 2. So until I get the point here, and then forward, back and forth. Or so 1 and 2, and 1, 2, and 3, back and forth. So it's the idea is that you just do one. The idea is to do a thing so you can at the beginning accept that you know kind of where they're going to do their counters. So if I'm going 1 and 2, so okay, now he's going to do a number 1. So I can't go like 1, 2. Oh yeah, sorry, because I'll get clever. So 1, 2. So now here 1. And back here. And he does it to me. And I don't do it. But yeah, so I have to go here like this. 1, 2, then do it again. So at the beginning, we have to create a situation where it's obvious to us what we do. Like the same way that it's on the ball. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we go from there to the banging style. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, here. So you have the same idea. So if I was here like this, I have 1, 2, 3, or I say 1 up and down. Right? 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. I go here. So you have the same ideology. You just have to, once you're familiar with anything, it's like anything, you know, like, look, if I try to introduce a new form, you're a very well known and very well respected chef. So I'm sure you probably hear of most food things way before they become even vaguely popular. But if somebody introduces something to you, like for example, I was on a keto diet for a while, and I was eating an awful lot of almond flour. Now, almond flour doesn't react the same way as wheat flour. So as a result, you know, the muffins that my wife made were a lot heavier, and et cetera, et cetera. And it took a while to figure out what you want to do with that. So it's the same thing. So you have all of this material, and all the material does is say, okay, it gives me a framework that I can familiarize myself. And then you start seeing why and how it applies. So for example, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1. So I do the 2, and then come in, bang. So that's it. So 1, 2, or then here, then I go in with a 1, bang. You either blast it forward or backwards or whatever. And you start realizing after a while that at the beginning, you need to familiarize yourself. It's like, you know, like 1 and 1 equals 2 is the same thing as 1 million plus 1 million, but 1 million is like really big and at the beginning, 1 million, I'm adding 1 million? Oh my gosh. You know, most little kids are going, oh, I can't do that. So yeah, you just do it. You just say 1 million and 1 million is 2 million, and 1 and 1 is 2. So it's just extrapolating out from that position. So what, you know, because I just, you know, my experience with Nick and Ness, where, you know, in that material was very recent stuff. So, you know, it was like, okay, so we're doing that and we're able to do it more. But now, you know, the more I show this stuff, the more my experience grows and the more it seems, you know, it gets less confusing and more obvious to me. But it's one of those things where it takes time.
As we were drilling it and finding openings, we were using our ones and twos as a metronome, and then
Yeah,
finally the
exactly.
skip of the beat, and it was easier. Just so,
Yes.
but it was good. Thank you so much. We reviewed it immediately that afternoon and have been going through it. So we're doing it again today. So, which is great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Haven't seen that since haven't seen it since Texas. So, which is awesome. And
Yeah, well, the funny thing about Texas is that it's like, you go like, well, what, where did it go?
it went to certain people.
Yeah.
So, but it's good. Thank you so much, Uncle.
Oh.
Oh, and by the way, guys, next week, please don't forget, Tuhon Philip and Fabricio are having the PTKKI event on the 28th. So please don't forget, I will post and sign up before, so you have a wonderful end to your Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So guys, anyone has, then we can take the last question for the evening today. Anybody has any questions, they can just let me know.
They already know Pikiti.
Knowing is not enough. We must know how to apply. You are teaching us.
Oh, that's very good. Very good. What was that movie?
Yeah, yeah, okay. Andre, recording is available. Yeah, it'll be given once Megha will edit and she'll send it to everyone. Okay, we're going to do that. Yeah, and so then thank you everybody. Thank you for joining, and thank you to Tuhon Philip for empowering all of us with this beautiful knowledge which you are distributing to everybody. Like you said, that the more you teach, the more we learn, the more we grow together. So it's a very small word to say thank you to you, but you helping us link what we have learned all the life with Grand Tuhon, and to look back how it was, and like a special, really a very special thank to you, because my first introduction to Hoigo Todo happened because of you with GT directly, because that was very important. If you wouldn't have mentioned this word, I had no clue about this word. And I still remember I was flying to Philippines and I'd given you a call and asked you, what do you think I should learn? And you said, if you get a chance, ask him about Hoigo Todo. And when I asked him, he was really angry with me. He's like, where did you learn this word from? Who told you? I was like, doesn't make a difference, but can you teach me? He took me 7 days. He didn't teach me. And then finally he got so pissed with me. And but something now I actually, after I came back to you and then I interacted with you and then you showed me, he actually taught me the whole thing with katana first. And later he told me, like you said, todo in total, incomplete, and he would really, my arms were like tired because he was making me do the whole set with katana, 1, 4, and 2, and 1, 2, 2, the whole stuff. And then he made me do the single stick. It was, but like if you wouldn't have mentioned, he wouldn't have given that to me. And then you showed me that way, that was really amazing. And then you can really see the Hoigo Todo as really a bridging stuff in Trivi. Like everything is coming. And I remember very clearly, sir, in 2015 convention in Cebu, I think you were also there. Yes. I remember very clearly. He was doing this drill, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the Wittek, and then going back with that, he did this drill and he taught it to everybody. I'm like, it's very so fresh in my memory. And now I know where it came from.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It makes it interesting. Makes it interesting when you start connections. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you so much, sir. Thank you. It was lovely having you, and we'll have you more and more. Okay. Everybody keep safe. Good night, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Tuhon.
Bienvenue tout le monde. Merci. Thank you.
Yeah.
Obrigado.
And thank you, Megha. Thank you for the hard work. Always.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much, Tuhon. Phil was awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megha. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Megha.
Right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Uncle.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.